Hey guys, happy Thursday. Good to have you guys here. We've got another setting with Christian. We're going to run a live today. Big smiles, great weather outside, great company while working. So we're going to really crack in. We have a lovely bezel here today, 2 carat radiant, which is our Rachel design. And we're going with a DVS1. Super nice, great value, great color, really nice clarity. Oh, I lost a diamond. Oh, here it is. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, it's a little bit dirty. Let's give it a quick wipe and we can have a look at it. Yeah, nice. Look at that. Lovely faceting. It's going to give us a really nice scintillation. Yeah, cool. I'm excited. So, this is our, where are we? That's our Rachel. Now, I think this is Rachel with our... I think it's our 0.6 bezel off the top of my head. So you can get a 1mm or a 0.6. This is our 0.6, I believe. Actually, we can check. Let me have a measure here. No, I tell a lie. That's our 1mm. So this is our 1mm design, a little bit thicker, but once we hammer it over and we smoothen those facets on the sides out, those corners, we're just going to have a nice, with that nice bezel around the stone itself. So let's just get into it. As always, guys, questions, thoughts, queries, anything you guys want to add, please chuck it in the comments. I'll try and get to as many as possible, and we're going to try and reply verbally like this and type some replies as well, just to really get as much information to you guys as you can handle or you want to ask for. So we can see that the stone just sits on top really nice. So it doesn't fully drop in, which is good. Means the bezel's not too big. But does mean we're going to have to cut some metal out. So we're also going to want to cut a seat for our stone to sit in, because we need somewhere for that girdle, the edge of the diamond to click into, and we can fold the metal over the top. So, spinning. So we're just going to start really slowly starting to mark our line. What I will do actually, I'm going to come in with a half burr stone, 2 carat, 2.01 DVS1. So you'll see I'm just starting off with this half burr here, and the purpose for that is I want to try and get a straight line on the inside to mark where I want to put the ball burr, and with this half burr, see it looks like almost like a love heart kind of shape. It's really good to cut a really nice thin guideline. Now it's not a perfect line, but that's okay, because it just really helps to lay out where we want to put the seat for the stone, which is great. And we're looking to go halfway into that flat edge of the bezel, because we want metal to be able to fold over on top, and we're going to need some metal underneath it to give us that squeezing effect as well. Now this seat that I'm cutting now is really important. That is the basis for the whole stone setting. So if we don't get that right, what that'll mean is it means that diamond can be crooked, it may not be secure, it could come loose, or it might pop up on one end or something like that. So it's really important that we get this seat section perfect as close to perfect as we can from the start, because it's really difficult to fix afterwards. Not impossible, but can be difficult. So you can see that I've marked out the inside there. So I'm going to go in now with my ball burr and kind of just follow in that groove and just try and open it up a little bit, because we're going to get closer to, we also need to make it thick enough for the girdle, which is the outside of the stone, to fit into. So if it's too thin, the girdle is not going to fit. We also don't want to open it up, you know, way too big, because then there's going to be no tension on the girdle at all, and we'll have to hammer a lot more metal over, and we're making a lot more work for ourselves. That's, you know, we don't want that. It's not necessary really. So we want to keep as much metal in the setting as possible, because of course that's great for structure and stability. Now, I'm not 100% happy with this ball burr. It's a little bit not spinning correctly, so I'm just going to grab a fresh one. Much nicer. So you guys can see that the channel is starting to open up here, and we're just going to follow that the whole way around. So everywhere we've marked, we want to open up with that ball burr, because on this design the bezel does run the full way around the stone. On some of our designs only go half, you just cover the ends. So that's a similar process, but slightly different, obviously, because we haven't got any metal in the middle, so there's nothing to cut out. So it becomes really important, your seats on the ends. Alrighty, and you guys will see that I'm just going back over where I've already done. Again, just straightening it up and just taking my time to make sure I'm really happy with this seat, because once the stone is in, it's very difficult to get back out, and we want to make sure that once it's in, we lock it in. It doesn't need to come out for any reason either. So this prep phase is really important, and we just want to take as much time as necessary to get it to where we want. Alrighty, so what we'll do now, just zoom out and have a look. think I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe just a little bit more on this side. Alrighty. What we're going to do now is I'm going to answer a question actually. So fascinating. Thank you. Do you find that bezel settings reflect more or less metal colour into the stone than a cathedral or a prom setting? That's a great question, Amanda. It depends. It's really up to the cut of your stone. You shouldn't really see too much. You shouldn't get too much colour, bleeding into your stone from the bezel. You may get a little bit, and that's okay. But your eyes will naturally look at it, and it may give a yellow hue as well, because that's, it's relative to what it's looking at. But if you're worried about anything like that, my advice is to go with platinum, because you are getting that really cold white grey kind of colour. You're not going to see. If you're worried about seeing any kind of yellowness or anything like that, I'd go with platinum. But as a whole, it's all about the stone you pick, so that you're not getting, especially when you're looking, top down, you're not getting the colour from the inside of that band underneath. So if I find my brush, now, like I said before, when we went to measure the stone to the bezel, it is still a little bit big. So we're just going to take a little bit off the inside of that bezel at the top, which I'll show you now, so that we can just click the stone in. Now, if we leave it as it is and try and force it in, we may buckle and bend our setting trying to force it in, so we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to take off just at the top. So the bottom obviously can stay, because we want it to be supportive of that undersection of our pavilion, the bottom of our girdle, but on the top where we want to click it in and we're going to fold the metal over anyway, we can just start to remove a thin layer at a time to be able to get the stone in. Alrighty. So what we'll do now is just give it a clean, give it a brush, and then we're just going to start to measure the stone to the setting, see if it's going to go in. So it will be a little bit of back and forth, similar to when we cut the seat, to make sure if we cut enough, do we need to cut a little bit more, how's it going to fit, all of that kind of stuff. So you can see it's better, but we can't slide the stone in like this. We're still touching on those sides, so we might want to take a little bit more metal. Out. Again, so when we push in, we're not forcing the metal. We're just getting the stone to click in to that seat. And you want a little bit of resistance when you're pushing, but we don't want to push too hard that we bend our setting. Now for this, while I'm taking this metal away, I'm using a tapered cylinder there. It's like a cone. You can see there, it's like a tapered cone, which is really good that I can get right into these corners and not make the corners too rounded, because we are going to want to get a nice edge back where we have nice pointed corners in here. So just keep in mind, if we're going with a ball burr that's too big, start to round the whole thing out, and it starts to look a little bit too much like a cushion as opposed to a radiant cut. All right. All right. We are getting closer, but again, it's just slowly, a little bit at a time. What I'll do is I'll turn the mic off for a little bit so you don't have to listen to all this background noise. And if you guys have any questions or anything that I have a look at and want to bring to attention, all that kind of stuff, I'll come back with the mic and talk you guys through some answers or answer any questions, give some feedback, all that kind of stuff. In the meantime, we'll just put some background music on and we'll just focus on getting this stone in place. So if I don't speak to you before, I'll speak to you once we're able to get our stone in. Alright guys, so you'll notice I did a bit of back and forth, I almost had the stone in, I put this grey stuff on, you can see on the outside here, this thermo lock, and then I almost had the stone in, and it was just a little bit too small, so I took it all back out, took a bit more metal out. It's really important you do that, not just try and force, because it may not get in and sit where that nice little seat is. If it doesn't do that and you try and hammer the metal over, you're really not securing your diamond properly, or as well as you could or should. So we popped it out. I then put this thermo lock back on so it's nice and secure. When I push down, I don't bend the setting like I was saying before. That's a big problem. And then push the diamond in, get it into that seat, and click on the opposite side. And now it's nice and firm. You can see I'm pushing, and I've got no movement, absolutely no movement at all, which is fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my little hammer handpiece here, my little GRS. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push on this edge here. So on all these edges, these 8 edges, I'm going to push. And what that'll do is that's going to fold the metal over and onto, you know, all these side facets of the stone. That's what's going to lock our diamond in. Once I've done all of that, and that's really loud, so that's going to go on and be really loud and annoying. So I am going to turn the mic off again so you don't have to listen to it, but you can see it. After that, then I'll turn the mic back on and I'll talk you through. We're going to use this nice engraver here, it's a flat one, and we're going to cut some nice straight lines, file our top, finish it, and then give you guys a look at what it's going to look like on the top before we send it off to get polished and to go to our showroom, to our clients. I'm not sure which one's going actually, but to go to its next step. So I do have another question here. How many gem setters are there? What's the chances that Christian does my ring? Great question. We have 7 diamond setters here, so 1 in 7, which is great. But yeah, 7 very competent, very highly skilled and experienced setters, all with a lot more experience than me. So if you're happy with me, you'll be more than impressed with what the rest of the team is capable of, which is great. Do we have anything else we want to address straight away? Not really. I'm getting a shake of the head. So I'm going to keep going so we don't drag this out for too long. We're just going to turn the mic off. I'm going to hammer these sides, and then I'll come back to you guys for the next step. Okay, so you guys will be able to see, that's what I was talking about. That corner is gone, and now we've hammered all that metal over onto our stone, which is great. But you can see it's still a little, we've got this roughness. You can see where I've hammered. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go in with some emery paper here, which I have on my stick. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flatten these sides a little bit. Just take a little bit of that metal away that we're going to have to remove to flatten it off anyway. But I'm just going to take it off now before I start going to cut our bright cut with the graver, like I was saying before. Just so it's a little bit easier to push and cut. You're not trying to cut so much metal off at once. So we'll just go in like this. It's really just a rough cleanup for the minute. We're not trying to perfect this outside shape just yet. Need a little bit of, we've got to follow a few other steps first, and then what I'll do is I'm going to clean up that outside, get nice corners back, get that outside edge, all of that stuff, as well as the bezel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut some nice straight lines on the inside, and just really slowly start cutting some straight lines. So what that does, this flat engraver that I have here is going to cut a bright cut. So what that means is just a nice flat, surface where you can see there, got that nice light reflection coming off it. So as the name suggests, we want it to look nice and bright. If I leave it as it is, it looks, it's really rough and looks unfinished. So we don't want to do that. And it's really hard to polish in there. So this is the way we're going to get it nice and straight. And if you had a curved stone, like an oval, then we would have to cut a curved bright cut, obviously, to maintain that shape. But in this scenario, we're lucky it's just nice straight lines. So just start going from right to left at the moment. And then you'll notice I'm going to have to go, and we've got all these little dangly bits that I'm going to need to cut off. But I also haven't cut, the full lengths all the way. So I'm just going to turn around and just butt into those corners. And just start to block out our shape. Now, it's not we're going to go over this more than once, like everything else that I've done today. And most settings that I've done on the live, we do things more than once. So this first cut is just a preliminary, want to remove the bulk of the metal that we don't want there and clean all of that up. And then after that, it's all about getting our nice shape, even lines, it's smooth, all of that kind of stuff. So you can see it's already better than what it was before. Sure, it's still a little bit dirty, but those edges are really starting to crispen up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sharpen my tool, make it really, really, really sharp and polished. And what that will do will give us a nice crisp line when I push through it. You can do this, I'm doing it by hand with a little hand pushing tool like that, and you can see that the graver is just there this way. Graver is just on the end of it, but you can also do it on that little hammering tool where am I? We can do it on that little hammering tool that I was using before. We can do it on that too, but I just find pushing it by hand, you have a lot more control. And you can just really get into the corners a little bit better with the machine. A lot of people do use that GRS machine, and it's a great way to move metal off the stone. But with this job in particular, I want to be really delicate and just take away just the bare minimum to leave as much metal there for security as possible. I do think I have a question here that I'm going to answer in a moment. Nope, I don't. Don't worry, I got a false cue. All good. But like I said, guys, if you guys have any questions, thoughts, queries, things you want to know, what am I doing? This is a little diamond disc. Here, this one here that's spinning, and it's made up of a compound with very, very, very finely ground up ground diamonds. And what that is doing is giving my graver here a beautiful mirror finish, and that mirror finish is what we're going to impart on the metal once I push it through. So this nice sharp edge will cut and the flat edge will give it the nice polish that we're looking for. So that when I get it with the polishing machine, I just get in with a little brush and just brighten it up, give it a little touch, because we obviously, we see it's such a delicate area, we can't get our polishing mop into there per se. So you'll see, just really gently taking nice little shavings of metal away. What I will say, guys, if you are thinking about a bezel, absolutely great choice. Great for security, gives you a really nice, once we're done, you're going to see you've got this really nice, if you're geometric finish. So especially if you go with a radiant or an emerald, even if you go with an oval or something with curves, you still get this nice geometric look because you've got the bezel that really supports it. It's like a picture frame around. And you just get this lovely, I think picture framing is the best way to put it actually. Get this nice frame around your diamond. Also makes it look a little bit bigger as well, which is always good. But you do it knowing you've got such good security on your stone that it's not going to go anywhere, which is, I know, front of mind for a lot of people. And for us in here in the workshop as well. We don't want your diamond to come out. We want it to stay in there forever. To be honest, we don't ever want it to pop out. And the only time it comes out is if we have to voluntarily take it out. Alright, so you guys can see I've got this nice polished edge that I've cut on the sides. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to focus on these flat ends and edges, and we're just going to push my graver over the top right in the middle to just start to put a flat spot that then I can follow on with my file. You can see that there's a little bit of a ridge there, so I just want to take that ridge down. But by doing it with the graver, you get this nice, even bit of metal that you're going to take off. It helps line everything up after as well. Alright, so I know that doesn't look anything special just yet, but that's okay. I'm really happy with how it sits. Our diamond is nice and secure in that setting, which is fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this thermolock off with a bit of heat. Right, I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. You can see I've got this little heat gun, little red head. And what we're going to do is just gently pry away. So you can see when it gets nice and warm, it just pulls away, sort of. We don't want it too soft because then it gets really sticky and doesn't come out. Great. Okay, so what I can do now is I can go in with my emery paper again. And just start to really clean up these flat sides. Now the emery paper is excellent because it's dead flat. So it helps keep the lines nice and straight as well. Alrighty, you can see we're starting to take some shape here. I'm also going to go in on these sides as well. They're also needing a little bit of a touch up. And we want to bring back that nice, really crispness of those corners as well. You can see we're starting to really get it back now. And as always, I'm going to take the setting and the diamond out of my ball vise. I'm going to hold it in our hands. We have an inspection here. Nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my little abrasive wheels, which you guys have seen plenty of times before. I'm just going to use them to get our nice straight edge as well. Again, it's just all about getting that finish super, super, super crisp. If I find the right tools that I'm looking for. All right. You can see there we're starting nice flat edge. I put a nice flat edge on my wheel and we just follow the bezel's edge to make sure we get the whole flat surface. And we'll do it in nice, slow, controlled movements as well, so we're not pushing too hard till we take too much metal away. We want to keep it, again, take away just enough. Now, like with the emery paper, I'm going to do this outside edge as well. You guys will notice I'm really focused on this part because we want to make sure, especially if we've got nice flat edges, we've got nice straight flat edges. It's really important to maintain those. You don't want to put curves on a stone with flat faces because it does become really obvious and it's not that great. It looks a little bit wavy, so that's not ideal. So if you had a rounded stone, then you want nice a round surface, but especially with a radian, we've got nice flat edges. We want to maintain that look across the setting, at the top, on the sides, on the bottom. We want to keep it really, really nice and as flat as possible. And that's just not about me now while I'm cleaning up. You know, it's important now that I make sure that I keep these flat surfaces, but it's also really important when we go to polish. So if we push too hard on one side, we can bend the setting, we can change the shape, we can polish away too much metal and put a curved flat spot, and you say, oh, I don't want that. Then it's a really big problem to try and get that out. So at every stage of when we're setting a diamond, a bezel or with claws, it's all about attention and attention to detail and making sure your eye is you got your eye in on the job, because you want this nice crispness, especially with a bezel like this where you've got nice geometries. We want to maintain that. So you can see there we've got nice flat edges. Now all it needs is a bit of a polish. So I'm just going to use my little brush to get that bright cut super bright, which you'll see now. Just need just a little touch. And you see, look at that. Nice bright reflection coming back at you, which is just fantastic. Like I said before, it's a much better look than if we left it wavy and uncut and just a little bit all over the place. It's not a very nice look at all. And we just polish these faces as well. Look at that. There we go, guys. Just take all the rubbish off the surface, touch up some edges, and look at that. There is our Rachel 2-carat D VS1 in our Rachel setting. I think I already said that, but in our Rachel setting, in lovely 18-carat yellow gold. Nicely polished. And we've got most of all our marks off, which is great. All these little surface scratches you can see there, we're going to get off on our big wheel where it's nice and fluffy, really soft. There you have it, guys. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys here, answer your questions, get your support. Anything we haven't gotten to or missed, or anything you want to mention that you haven't had a chance to, please shoot us a DM. Especially with questions, we can get some answers to requests, stuff like that. Please send us a message, and have a great afternoon, guys. We'll see you again very soon. Bye.